Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. It is Saturday, June 24th, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the West Coast. Okay, I've been out running errands all morning. I finally got a chance to sit down and read the news. And I see that Russia and the Wagner Group have come to something of a truce. It appears that this truce was brokered by Lukashenko, who's the leader of Belarus, and Prigozhin is going to has already turned his column around from its march towards Moscow, and now instead will be going to Belarus. What do I want to pick up on that one? Oh yeah, there was, I think one of the big keys here is that they have, in this article that I'm looking at from the New York Times, it says that Kremlin aparchiks, regional governors basically, lawmakers and other officials declared their fealty to Mr. Putin, with virtually all predicting that he would prevail. No central figures publicly took Prigozhin's side. Okay, so what that's telling me is that Prigozhin didn't have the political support that he needed to pull this off. And there would have been a lot of bloodshed, and Prigozhin's troops were better matched than the Russian troops they would have been facing. They would have been facing, additional conscripts and such. But if you don't have the support of the politicians or other military, this wasn't going to work out. So he cut a deal which basically prevents him from being prosecuted for treason in Russia. His troops won't be prosecuted, and they will allegedly get safe passage to Belarus. We'll see if people maintain their promises on these things. So it looks like we're going to have to put off the coup d'etat for another day. But the fact that this even happened is, this is a gold mine for U.S. intelligence, because they got to see exactly what Russia would do in a situation like this. It's a huge distraction to the Russian war effort. And so Russia obviously had to launch a dozen missiles at Kiev, because of course they did. Had to project strength, This is a mess. This is an absolute mess. And again, Russia is now deprived of the best fighters they've had in this war. The Wagner Group is no longer a factor in this war, at least on the short term. So this is all good for Ukraine. Now, I want to sort of read on the general situation now, currently involving Prigozhin and Putin in this agreement with Lukashenko, and then we'll look at an outcome with it. Interestingly, just want to throw this out there, I was getting the justice card a couple of times yesterday. I found out today that Prigozhin was saying that this wasn't a rebellion, it was a just cause. So he's using justice in his cause for even his march back on Moscow. So I think there's a link there. I wouldn't have known that without when I was doing the initial reading, but certainly hearing it now, I can make that connection. So bring it on down. Let's see what's going on. I changed my mat. Hope you like it. Okay, what's the current situation between Prigozhin and Putin? Judgment. Okay. They certainly got, Prigozhin certainly got Putin's attention by this. There was a question asking if Putin was going to change his military commanders, and there was no comment on that one. And the nightmare of Putin. Okay. So Prigozhin got Putin's attention with that march. And it was an absolute nightmare situation for Putin. It probably would have been a nightmare solution for Prigozhin in the end. I don't know if he would have been able to really take over the government there. But that's where we're at right now. We're at a judgment, and it's the end of that nightmare situation that was impacting both of them. In the past, we got the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so here we go. Prigozhin was a billionaire. Putin is arguably the wealthiest man in the world. They don't know what his wealth is, but there are people who estimate it's even more than Bezos. So you have these really wealthy men who had everything they wanted, and this whole war was based on looting, wealth and looting. Current situation is the King of Cups. Believe it or not, I believe this is Lukashenko coming in and saying, "Hey guys, we're all friends here. Let's not kill each other when we're all friends. We're just having a disagreement." Probably some acknowledgement of the troops that Prigozhin lost with a missile attack. I don't know if Russia could release intelligence that they did it or didn't do it, but basically somebody with some emotional maturity came in and calmed these two people down to prevent things from getting even worse. Current situation, it's the next step of planning. This is, Putin having to reevaluate his war effort over there because he lost his best fighters. This is Prigozhin going into Belarus. There was something in the statement about setting up recruitment fields or camp fields or something along those lines. So I don't know if that's for Wagner to recruit. I guess it's for them to recruit and resupply their lost manpower without getting missile attacked by Russia in the process. So, and even Lukashenko looking out because he's helped Russia. Now maybe Russia will stop trying to poison him and kill him off. The lesson to be learned is the betrayal. Putin feels absolutely betrayed by Prigozhin. Prigozhin feels absolutely betrayed by Putin. Lukashenko was poisoned by Putin and his crew. There is all sorts of betrayal and disappointment to go on. But also, Prigozhin told the Russian people why this war started. He's let the cat out of the bag, and you can't get the cat in the bag at that point. And I really believe the Russian people, the citizenry, will believe it because they're cynical. They've been through a lot of crap, and they're going to be cynical about this. And the whole Nazism story, that wasn't going to make any sense. They probably suspected it was something like this, and this is just confirmation. It's going to be confirmation for those who suspected, and for those who always listen to the government. Now they're going to have to listen to their neighbors' growls about how, anybody who's lost a child in this, who lost a son in this, is now going to know that their son was lost because some really wealthy people wanted even more money. That's not going to sit well. Outcome is Page of Pentacles. There's going to be a new offer, a new beginning. So again, I think for Prigozhin, this is him in Belarus, gaining new people, coming up with a new beginning. I don't know if he will. I can't imagine a scenario where he goes back to Putin. But he's a mercenary, pay him the money and he'll be back. But I know he was talking about going to Africa because it was a better moneymaker for him, as it were. This is Lukashenko offering up something of value to Putin, and we'll see what Putin comes back with on that. But underneath it all is the agreements card, the agreements between these three parties to cease their hostilities. Okay, so that's the current situation, and that seems to resonate pretty well with the situation on the ground there. Now let's get to the fun stuff. What's going to be the outcomes of this? Okay. I've only had what appears to be like one or two pro-Russian troll style accounts jumping in onto my feed. I was wondering if that was going to happen or not. Whatever. Nothing rude, just delusional. Looking hard. That's right. The moon card showed up. So there's still things we don't know about that's going on. That's also going on in Russia. I did have one person ask if this was a case of Putin being dead, would this the Wagner Group going into Moscow, would that give them the ability to assassinate one of Putin's body doubles and claim Putin's dead, and we have regime change here? I'm guessing there's the Sun card. Is that true? That's possibly true. I don't know why things changed. Maybe because the governors still voted to stay behind Putin, so they don't have the political support yet to pull this off. Or Putin's still alive, and there's malarkey with that one. But we do love a good conspiracy theory, don't we? Just as much as the Republicans like their conspiracy theories. Okay, so what's going to be the net result for Russia out of this? What's going to happen for Russia? Come on down. What's going to happen for Russia? They have to make some tough choices. What tough choices? They're planning the next steps in this war. Fighting for advantage in King of Cups. It's interesting to see so many cards come up again. These cards were shuffled. Okay, Russia needs to make some tough choices. And it's going to be about the fighting that's going on. And part of it's going to be, do they continue fighting in Ukraine? Or do they retreat to more defensible places so that they don't have to go through this next uprising? There's planning that needs to happen. And again, I think with Lukashenko taking on the Wagner Group, that calms things down for them a little bit so that they can better prepare a defense if another rebellion comes up. So Russia's all about self-care at this point to crush any rebellions that might happen that have been spurred on by this event. And they're going to be moving really, really quickly on that. Interesting. I mean, this could also be this could be more missiles. You know what? And this is probably more missiles too. They're going to start using missiles on Ukraine again to distract from the fact that that there was a rebellion in Russia. They're going to punish the Ukrainians with missile strikes to basically distract and for Putin to show that he's still in power, still in control. He's still the gangster Mac, the OG of Russia. Lovely. You know, you just pull your troops out of that country too. Secure your own border. Get those sanctions lifted off you. And pay for all the damage you did. Alright, well, okay, that's Russia. What about Prigozhin in Belarus? How are things going to work out for the Wagner Group? How are things going to work out for the Wagner Group? Wagner Group. How are things going to work out for Prigozhin and the Wagner Group? Alright. There we go. They're going to rest and recuperate and heal up and get ready for whatever their next battle is. Things came to an end in Ukraine really, really quickly, and Russia really quickly. Compromise was offered. A lot of things were happening that they didn't like, and they were offered something that they took, which is this accord, and it gives him time to rearm, reload, start stockpiling money again after the sudden ending of this. Again, Prigozhin is a billionaire, and I think what he was seeing happening was the destruction of the very thing that made him a billionaire, and he needs to reload on that one, on these two cards. He needs to get new recruits in there because his recruits are tired, they're beaten up, their numbers are depleted, and he's going to need cash in order to do that. And things were ending quickly. This could also be that missile strike that hit their camp, which caused them to leave Ukraine in a hurry and then march towards Moscow. And that was a pretty darn quick march to Moscow, I'm going to say. You know, given that Putin, he's going to have air dominance over Russia, and they made it halfway there. I did hear somewhere that an attack helicopter came out and attacked them. I'm surprised there wasn't more of that. I would imagine something like that happened in the U.S. You could expect, you could count on helicopters being up in the air searching for these guys and then gunning them down in their vehicles. So I think Prigozhin was going to be in a bad way to get where he needed because he wasn't going to have air support. Who was going to give him air support? Okay. What's this mean for the war in Russia? Death. War in Russia. The Ukraine war. This popped out. Even as I'm asking the question. Throw it in the middle of the deck. Shuffle more. What's this going to do for the Ukrainian war? Looks like it's going to bring it to an end. This is kind of like the thing. I'll say the straw that broke the camel's back, but this was like, having a heart attack and a stroke, and now the patient's on life support, and they're never going to be back to the way they were before. What's this going to do for the war in Ukraine? It's going to be a winner-take-all type of thing. 5 of Swords. I would expect that Russia is going to... Oh, God. When they've mined the cooling pond of a nuclear plant or blowing up dams and stuff like that, I think Russia is going to pull out all the stops at this point. They've lost their quality troops, so they're going to pull out all the stops of cruelty that they've got left. We've got the 8 of Coins, the Moon card, and then the card of anxiety with the Emperor. So Putin is going to be in charge. He's going to be calling shots. He's going to want to distract from this embarrassing coup that almost happened, and he's going to punish the bejesus out of Ukraine for this, even though Ukraine didn't have anything to do with it. We don't know what he's going to do yet, and he's kind of howling mad. Crazy. But he's working on a plan, and he wants to make it a nightmare, I think, for the folks in Ukraine. Yeah. He's going to he's going to pull out all the stops on this one. Lovely. Okay. Well, I guess one last thing. Now we're going to do a long term. Long term. What's the next crisis? Putin's going to... Is this going to end the war in Ukraine? Is this going to end Russia's ability to wage war in Ukraine? That's kind of it's sort of more of a yes/no question. So when I looked at this yesterday, it sure as heck looked like this was a coup and a rebellion, and it was going to bring the end to Putin. That doesn't mean this has changed. It's just not going to be on the timeline I thought it was going to be on last night. And again, that's free will. That's 3 people coming together and coming to an agreement. But what does this do for the war? Does this end Russia's ability to wage war in Ukraine? He wants to stay up there. Okay. Yeah, things are going to calm down. Russia's going to have a temper tantrum, and then things are going to calm down. This is also the card I think that came up when I was asking about his family. Yeah, probably negotiations. This is going eventually what this is going to do. This is going to start leading to peace talks as things wind down. And again, I think it's partly because the Ukrainian offensive is going to go rather well, and this is going to cause people who don't want to talk to have to talk to calm things down. Yep, here's going forward with a new message. Prigozhin's left. This is and the Ukrainian offensive started. There's now Russians are going to be in retreat. If the Russians have to retreat, they have to regroup because this is a huge blow to them. Now they have to rethink their whole strategy. Again, the mutiny resonated, and that's caused all sorts of problems for Russia and their army. Morale was already in the tank, and now it's going to be that much worse. Because you've just shown if you rebel, you get to go to another country and not fight anymore. And the lesson to be learned is that wisdom. Again, I think also that Prigozhin alerted the Russian people as to why this war started. It was about money and wealth. And that's going to resonate with people. And they're not going to like the fact that their kids were sent out to die because some oligarchs wanted a bunch of money. This is going to wake up the people, and the people are going to be upset. Outcome, I think there will be a truce that's finally called, a truce and a peace treaty that comes out of this. With the levers underneath it. Yeah. So long term, this will end the war. But I think, again, I do think the war will end only because Ukraine's offensive is going really well. Russia just, their soldiers don't have the fight in them anymore to want to continue to prosecute this war. And losing Prigozhin was kind of a key piece of that puzzle. It's kind of a backbreaker, as it were. Okay, so sorry, I wanted the coup d'etat too. I wanted my popcorn moments, but we didn't get that. So we'll see what happens on this one. We'll see how things progress through the summer as the Ukrainian offensive continues. Okay, thank you very much for supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. This is not what I was expecting to be reading on this weekend, but wow, the news was wild over the last 48 hours. So, I'm glad I could be here to at least do some readings on it and share whatever insights I get with that with you guys. So, there you go. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll catch you on the next reading. Take care.